Hello, welcome to Verbling. In this class, we're going to basically just have an open-ended discussion, practice our English by talking a little bit about maybe practicing descriptions, situations, and sharing opinions about a specific topics. Our topic is children in the workplace. When is it appropriate for children to work, if ever? So I'll be looking for your opinions on that, as well as describing what the laws and rules are in your country, what the reality is, what the attitude is in your separate countries. Okay, let me start out by welcoming some students to the class. Hello, Lynn. Hi there.
Hello, teacher.
Hi,
How are
Lynn.
you?
I'm fine. And where are you from, Lynn?
I'm from Vietnam.
No. Okay. Great. I'll be interested in hearing what the rules are regarding children and working there. Great. I'll be talking to you in just a minute.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Hello, Heidi. Welcome back,
Hello, nice to see you again.
as always. And hello to Julio. Hey, what's
Hello,
up?
Oakley.
Hi. How are
Not
you?
much. Everything okay?
Okay. Glad to hear it. Okay. Children in the workplace. Now, okay, you guys know I'm an American. I could hardly wait to start working. This was very normal, at least where I grew up. You're 11 or 12 years old and you want money for candy. So you open a lemonade stand and you sell lemonade to passersby for 10 cents a glass. Whatever. You offer to cut your neighbor's lawn. You do some gardening, whatever. Weed his flower bed and he'll give you $10. Anyway, if you can figure out how to get money, you're going to do it. And this is very normal for little kids. Accepted social practice. Just, it's normal. And although there are rules and laws governing working age and working part-time, working full-time, mostly kids run around and scramble around to make some money as soon as they can figure out how. Lynn, take me to Vietnam. Now I'm explaining basically the social idea of children working in America. How about little Vietnamese kids? Do they like to try to make money?
Yes. And the child the children in Vietnamese. Some children in the maybe they really poor, and they have to make money very soon, and they try to clean the shoes at the sidewalk and maybe sell some stuff all day to make money, to earn the money, and that is normal in Vietnam. It's not
Okay.
normal.
Okay. So because they're poor and their family needs money.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
The family needs it.
Okay, so they might clean shoes, or in
Yes.
English we say shine shoes. More
So-
shine shoes. Yeah, you
Yes.
use the polish and you scrub them or whatever. Shine shoes, or sell things like snacks,
Yes, exactly. Snack or gum or
gum.
chocolates.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I am an American, but I live in the Philippines, so same thing. You see little kids selling gum or peanuts
Yes, peanut.
or
Yes.
quail eggs.
Corn egg or maybe they
Yep.
sell some newspaper.
Okay.
Flower,
Right.
like,
Flowers.
yes,
Right.
Flower?
Uh,
No, we don't have children sell flower.
uh,
like necklace, then necklace.
yeah, that's right. In the Philippines, there's a kind of a white flower that has a very strong smell. really powerful. But I mean, it's a very nice smell too. It's really, really pleasant. So yeah, they form little necklaces, and that's Heidi's been to the Philippines, so she knows that. I'm sure you've seen that, right? Uh, yep. Same thing. Right. They sell little things. You see that all the time. And small children, 8 years old, 7 years old, 7, 8, 9 years old.
Yes,
Walking
maybe
around.
smaller. Yes, maybe smaller.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Now that you would, of course, never see in the United States, because most Americans would think that's very dangerous. They wouldn't let their kids wander around the streets selling things, of course. But you could, in your own front yard, have a lemonade stand or work for your neighbors cleaning things or raking leaves or whatever. That would be very normal.
Oh.
But, of course, the difference, Vietnam or the Philippines and the United States, the kids are doing it because they want to do it. Basically, they want candy or toys or whatever. Not because they have to do it so they can eat some rice today, which, right,
Yes.
more the case Vietnam or the Philippines. Heidi, I never see on the movies or anything, I never see Japanese kids
Now,
selling things or.
Japanese kids are very important. Only family had only 1.4 or 5 kids.
Ah, right.
Or work. But my husband said he was living on the countryside. When he was a child, he put trap to get eels on the river. And the Japanese eels are very expensive, so he brought it in some restaurant, eels restaurant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. So when he was a kid, he basically was a fisherman.
Before he told me.
Okay, very interesting. In the United States, I don't know, totally off topic, but they don't eat eels. But the eels are very prolific. There's a lot of eels to be eaten, but people don't eat them there, rarely.
It's very delicious.
Yeah, I agree. I worked for a Danish chef who knew how to prepare them. I know we're off topic here, but when I was young and I was working, teenager, I worked for this Danish chef. I was just a dishwasher, but I helped him prepare or prep food. I remember cleaning the eels. What a disgusting job. They would be, the fishermen would catch them, okay, and they'd slit their throat and gut them, meaning they'd cut them all the way down from the neck to where they go to the bathroom and remove all of their intestines and all of their guts. They put them in a burlap bag, and then they'd sell them to us, and we'd put them in the walk-in cooler, get to them when we could, and I'd have to clean them. It would be 24 hours later, or 24 to 48 hours later, I would go to clean them. I would put them in the icy cold water and try to clean them up, and they would still be like, they'd wrap around my arm.
Yes.
Oh my God, you're dead! Don't you know you're dead? They don't know they're dead for like 2 or 3 days. You know what I mean? Crazy. They're scary. They don't recognize the fact that they're dead already. Crazy. It's kind of a scary children's job there. I'll tell you, a little bit. But yeah, okay. You know what I mean, though, right? It's very kind of freaky. All right, we're off topic there. But all right. Okay, so in the countryside, then, you're saying in Japan, it's not that completely. It's not unheard of for children to work. Okay, especially what, agriculture, like farmers or fishermen or that type of work.
maybe that time it was wild. Wild eels are very delicious and expensive. Nowadays, many eels come from China.
Really?
Hmm.
Interesting. Yeah. In the United States, I would have to say that kids that grow up on farms, they start working early, for sure.
Hmm.
In fact, in the United States, and we're going to get to laws in just a little bit, in the United States, you're allowed to drive a car on your own when you're 16. You can get a permit when you're 15. Part of this is to allow you to work. You can drive when you're 15 with an adult with a license.
Hmm.
But, probably didn't know this, you can drive a tractor, a farm tractor, even a big, whatever, Ford GM 4,000 horsepower big tractor. You can drive that on the roads when you're 12. You have to be 12 years old
Oh.
to drive a tractor.
Even children can drive some tractor or something. Only the place, private place.
Ah, okay, on private land.
Yeah.
In the United States, well, obviously, you wouldn't drive a tractor on the highway. Obviously not. Of course not. Anyway, but on other roads, like going from one field to another, children, you have to only be 12 years old, and it's legal to drive a tractor, for example. So, yeah, farm kids start working when they're quite young. Okay, Julio, let's talk about Mexico. Are there many kids running around working, trying to make some
Oh,
money?
sure. It's pretty similar situation than the one that my than Lynn was describing.
Mm-hmm.
Mexico, very poor country, uh, emerging economy, and well, I wouldn't say emerging. I would say more like submerging economy.
Oh God.
And
Uh,
anyway, yeah, most of you know poor families they force their kids to work, and you can see a lot of children selling everything in the street, like food, flowers, um, shoe shiners,
mm-hmm.
and begging. A lot of kids begging, and especially kids that have indigenous origins.
Oh,
These
really?
kids, yeah, many of them don't even speak Spanish. They speak
Really?
their original dialect. So it is very common for you to find these kids usually wearing only rags and without shoes. They
Uh-huh.
will only know how to say a couple of words in Spanish, and that will be like something like "Give me 1 peso" or "Help me." Most of them don't even speak Spanish, so of course
Wow.
they never went to school. And most of these kids are the ones that actually live in the city. I mean, that actually were born in the city. They are mostly elementary school dropouts because their parents didn't have the money to get them through elementary school. So,
Okay. All right. So, are there any? That's. I didn't really realize that about the indigenous children in Mexico. I'm glad you mentioned that because here in the Philippines, there's also an indigenous population. They're called Ayeta. Same thing. Many of them, either they live in their jungle villages and you don't see them, or when you do see them in the cities, they're begging and sometimes selling handicrafts or food, vegetables, primarily vegetables or fruit, but often begging. Yeah, I didn't realize that. You mentioned about, let's talk about laws. I want to talk about labor laws and also about education laws. In Mexico, are there any laws about children going to school? Let's start with that. Pardon me.
well, the whole school or education system in Mexico is based on three principles. One of them is a mandatory education for children. Free, mandatory, and Jesus, I forgot the other word in English. When religion is not involved, how do you call it? Secular?
Secular? Yep,
Yeah. So those
that's
are the
right.
three principles: mandatory, free, and secular in Mexico. But
Okay.
um, but most of them are not really applied because I mean the government understands the level of poverty that families live in, and it will be ridiculous to force them to send their children to school, and if that family is completely living in the countryside, parents having no education, kids only knowing how to work the land in best situations. So the government knows that trying to make all the kids go to school, that will cause a lot of discontent in the family,
Hmm.
because most of the parents, they have no education, and they believe that uh, that the children should learn how to work the land, and they should be providing money for the family since they're little. So parents believe that somehow they have to profit out of children
Hmm.
because that's the way they were raised. I mean, once you can walk, you better start doing something because that's the way it is here. That's the hard life, right? And
Uh-huh.
dog eat dog world, so you have to start putting some money on the table.
Okay.
So on the one side,
Transit.
we have the system that is incapable of applying these three principles, and on the other side, on the other hand, we have families reluctant to do it because they live in poverty. So
All right. Yeah, that's problematic. Okay. So are there specific laws about a certain age a child has to go to school? Supposedly, obviously, you've made it quite abundantly clear that these laws are unenforced and unenforceable, both. Um, but are there laws to a certain age that you're allegedly supposed to go to school?
children are supposed to go to school at the age of 6.
Yeah.
They are supposed to enroll in elementary school,
Yep.
but you see tons of kids, children, uh, you know, walking around selling stuff, working at traffic lights,
Yeah.
and
Right.
cleaning, the windshields and everything, wiping windshields and stuff, and nobody does anything,
Right.
and that's where you wonder, like, what's going on. I mean, what we say here in Mexico is that these laws have no teeth. So
Okay. That's also an English phrase. We say the same thing. The law has no teeth. Um, we say the same exact phrasing. So, is there a certain age, like in the United States, for example, same thing? Almost everyone enrolls their children in kindergarten when they're 5, but you have to, by law, enroll the child into at least first grade when they're 6 until they're 16. 16, it's legal to pull your child out if you have the parents' permission, written permission, whatever. But before that, it's not even legal. You can't. Of course, it's totally legal to homeschool, but you have to petition and apply and prove that the child is getting a real education. In any case, 16 is the age where minimum you have to supposedly keep the child in school until 16. That's what I was kind of wondering about.
mhm.
Okay. Lynn, let's talk about the education laws in children in Vietnam. Are there any laws about, do the children have to go to school? And if you could tell us a little bit about, is school public completely? Nothing is
Uh,
free, but is it public or private or a mix or what? What's the
yes, in Vietnam is the same as in the Mexico too. the kid had to go to school at the age about 6 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and we have to go to school until we uh, reach the 12th grade. 12th grade, yes, maybe
12th grade.
12th grade, yes. Yes, after that, we have a choice. Once you can go to the university if you have ability to pass the big exam, or second, you can find a school job. You can learn something about jobs you want to do in the future, and yes, you can yes, that is you have to choose second choice, or another you can mix them two. You can both go to university and you can have a job, maybe a part-time job.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you can make money like that. But especially some kind of children uh, don't they don't do both of them of that thing. They don't go to university and don't go to any school. They find a job and do something also. Yeah,
So they don't. Sorry to interrupt. So they don't do either of them.
do either. Yes, they do
Yeah,
either
they
job.
don't do this or that. Okay, so we can say either. All right, and also you're talking about university or vocational school or vocational classes, perhaps. Things like
Ah,
learning to do carpentry, electric work, plumbing,
oh
things
yes,
like that,
vocation.
right? Vocational, vocation, fixing
Nice.
cars, these types of things.
Yes.
Okay, so um, is school publicly funded? Is it all public? Do you have to pay for school, or is it
Yes,
free?
exactly. And I don't know how about in another country, but in Vietnam you have to pay the fee. You have to pay the tuition
Tuition?
to yes to tuition to study. University, if you have a scholarship, the
Yeah.
money yes the university would give you maybe 2 or 3 million Vietnam dong, about maybe around 100 or maybe more. Maybe I think maximum is $500 for scholarship.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Um, so even in like, let me get this straight. In grade school, you have to pay tuition. You have to pay money.
Yes. Every
Child's in
school.
third
Yes.
grade or whatever. Okay. Ah, that's that's tough. All right. Same thing here in the Philippines where I currently live. You have a lot of children who are not in school because even the public school you have to pay for.
Yes.
And although it's not really that much if you're very poor, it's a
Yes. But
lot.
yes. But in the private school, you have to pay very much money.
Yeah. Same. Okay. Same here. Public school in the Philippines. Okay. Maybe it's cheap. Maybe it's $50 a semester. But if you want a private school, it's like 500 a semester. It's
Oh
a
yes.
huge difference. 10
Huge.
times the amount. Really.
Oh yes.
So sounds very similar. So of course, very poor families do not have $50. That's a
Yes.
lot. That could be 2 weeks worth of wages for some people, some very poor people. So they can't
Yes.
scrape that up.
Yes. That's why some students from the poor family have to find a part-time job. Yes, to pay the tuition.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I see. As well, let me ask you, in the Philippines, I think Philippines and Vietnam are very, very similar. In the Philippines, it's very common for older brother or sister to get a job and pay tuition for his or her siblings, for his younger brothers and sisters. That's really common here.
You mean the brother can pay the tuition for the sister?
Yeah, the oldest brother or sister often
Yes.
goes to
Yes.
work in. Yeah.
Yes, it's really in common in every country. I think that's because we in the family, we are sibling, we can take care of each other, pay the money, it's fine.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I suspected as much. Okay. That's very interesting. Is there one more question? Is there a certain age which you supposedly have to stay in school until a certain age?
Until the what?
Is there a certain age where you have to stay in school, and then when you're maybe, I don't know, 16 years old, you can quit school if you want to? It's legal. Is
No,
there
no.
any law?
No, we have done any law about this. You
No
can
law.
quit anytime you want. Maybe
Oh, really?
it's first grade. Yes. It's I think but I think it's depend on their family.
Of
It's
course.
yes.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Vietnam and the Philippines are very, very, very similar.
Yes.
You have to pay, and there is no law about sending your children to school, actually.
Yes.
Here. All right. Very similar. Heidi, I'm gonna come back to you in a little bit, Lynn. Heidi, education laws in
Yeah.
Japan. Could you outline them
Mm.
for us?
Elementary school and middle high school, they are mandatory.
Mandatory.
So, compulsory for the parents have to their children go to the school.
Mm-hmm. Right. What question? Same thing in the United States. In the United States, if you didn't send your children to school up until 16 or before they were 16 years old, the parents could go to jail. Now, that's not what really happens. What really happens is they take the children away from the parents and put the children in foster care.
It's not.
That's what really happens.
And they are not punished. But school teachers always come to the house urge to go to school, your kid to go to school.
Okay. Right. Which is something I found in Asia to be remarkable, just because I'm not used to this. How teachers get really personally involved in students' lives.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, in the United States, forget that. There's no way a teacher's going to go to somebody's house. No way.
School ticket and tuition fee are free. Only
Free.
the parents need to pay the lunch, school lunch.
Okay. Right.
But if you are very poor, you don't need to pay even lunch.
Okay. It's exactly the same in the United States. Public schools are free up until you graduate grade 12. And same thing with the lunches. Exactly the same. Exactly the same. However, of course, in the United States, university, everybody has to pay. There's no such thing as
very, very expensive.
public.
And there are many private schools, elementary or junior high. It's very expensive.
Yeah. Okay. So in Japan, education, let me get this straight. Education is public education free up until grade 12, whatever.
To 14, 15.
14 or 15. Oh, okay. Up until high school.
Yeah. High
Okay.
school, no, not mandatory, so you need to pay money.
I see.
Still, public high school is still low. Tuition fee is low, but private school is very, very expensive.
I see. Okay. And then university, obviously, then in that case, university is also
the national university and private university. And then private universities tuition fee is over double.
Over double. Yeah.
compared to national.
Yeah. Speaking of education, okay, university in the United States, you may or may not qualify for scholarships, like Lynn was talking about. Depending, there's so many different kinds of scholarships, though.
Yeah, the same.
But everybody, absolutely everyone who's an American citizen can apply for a government loan. Everyone's qualified just by being born.
Oh,
So
if you are very smart, clever, intelligent, you can get free money.
right. Same in the United States, but everyone, no matter how stupid you are, if you're American, you can get a government loan, which is a very low interest rate, like less than 1% interest. Still has an interest rate, but it's extremely low, but everyone automatically qualifies. So
later, they need to pay back.
Yes, they do.
It's very hard.
Yes, it is for many people, and for people who like go to be a doctor or a lawyer who need 8 years of university, they, you know, not that I feel very sorry for them, but yeah, they start their life, their working life, very heavily in debt, actually.
Yeah, doctor course is very expensive.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And after that, they need to work in the university and the hospital, and the university hospital. Almost
Right, intern.
free. Intern.
As an intern, that's
The
correct.
wages are almost very close to free, very cheap.
It's same in the United States, exactly. Yeah. Okay, now, all right, so, all right, I wanted to talk about education so we got an idea where these working kids are coming from. But, okay, Heidi, we talked about the education laws. What are the work laws for children? For
example, what's it? Actress and actor. There are many singer or children. They can show in some TV show, but their working time is limited until 8 p.m.
Ah, okay. All right. United States, very similar. Their working time is limited by they're only allowed I don't know, certain number of hours per week or maybe per day. I'm not sure, like 4 hours per day or 20 hours per week or something. I don't know what it is exactly. But their work time is limited. Up until, in the United States, 15 years old, you can get a full-time job when you're 15. That is to say 40 hours a week or more.
It's the same as Japan.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, from 15.
Okay. Interesting. Up until then, you can only work part-time. But you're right, okay, like child models and actors and actresses and things, I don't know how they manage that. Because I do not believe a child television star is really, seriously, only working, whatever, 4 hours a day or...
Yeah, they earn a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like Home Alone.
Yeah. What happened to that kid? Macaulay there. What's that kid's name? Anyway, yeah, we can talk about that more. Child celebrities and what happens to them. Maybe we'll go there in a little while. Julio, let me go back to Mexico. Okay, so the education laws are pretty much unenforced. I'm going to go out on a limb and say any labor laws are pretty much unenforced as well. Is that correct? Would that be a correct assumption?
Well, if you work at a company that is, well-known company, they try to really follow the rules, because if they don't, that will make them look bad. But there is a lot of informal kind of work here in Mexico, like where you don't really get a contract, and they pay you in cash, and there is really another th- they are more like outsourcing kind of groups, like middle companies that try to just make money quick, and probably the next year they will disappear or change the name.
Mhm.
So these companies they tend to find to look for cheap hand labor, and that's where kids come into play and into the
Uh-huh.
game, right?
Yeah.
So many of these companies work in the construction uh, field or in the agriculture, farming. So there's where you can see a lot of kids working. They just gather kids by the day, so they will just line up waiting for one of these companies to go and pick them up, and they will take them to a certain place. Maybe it can be a, I don't know, a field to work the land, or to a construction place to get them to work, and they would pay them by the day, and they will then take them back to where they picked them up at the beginning, and that's it. So for
Okay.
them, it's a very cheap way to
Right.
get hand labor, and obviously they have no um, insurance, no social security at all, no protection. They are just pretty much exploited by
Right.
these groups.
So they work under the table. In English, we say work under the table. That means you're not taxed or insured or any of that. Okay, they're working under the table. I'm not surprised to hear about agriculture work. I am a little surprised to hear about construction work. Holy bad word.
Yeah.
Construction can be dangerous, number one. Number two, it can be very hard work, physically demanding work
Hmm.
as well. So man, what do they got these kids doing? Hauling bags of cement? Roofing houses? What are they doing? Pounding
Well,
nails? I don't get it.
you you have to take in count that Mexicans, we are well known for being good workers at construction, right?
Mm,
And most of low income families, most of them work in the construction field. So it's very common for parents to teach their kids how to do this construction work. So a very
wow.
common image of the Mexican family, it's the dad being a construction worker, a bricklayer, and the kid being the helper, right? Like being helping him, uh, like sticking bricks together, or like shoving sand or cement or
Yeah.
whatever they do. And it's very common to see the kid being very close to the dad, like learning all the skills. And so it's part of our Mexican point of view. So we
Mm,
don't really look down on that. We don't look
okay.
uh, we don't look it frowned upon, because it's part of our image to always see children somewhere in a construction site.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really? Okay, that's an eye opener, honestly. I don't see that in the Philippines. I don't see kids on a construction site ever. So that's a new one for me. What are they mostly? What is the construction material? Cinder block, cement block, bricks?
Bricks and cement blocks, pretty much.
Yeah, that's hard work, man. Mixing the cement and hauling sand and hauling cement. That's hard
Yeah,
work.
you
I mean,
you, you can
seriously hard work.
yeah, you can see these kids like they have these buckets that they have to fill with sand or cement, and they will have to like shoulder them. I don't know, three or four floors.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, they have to like I mean, sometimes I see these kids like really really short. I mean, in height, and I wonder if that has something to do. That would cause them some kind of bone, uh, m- m- I don't know, some bone problem or malformation or something like that, right?
got to be some damn tough kids. That's all I know. I don't think I could last a day on a construction site, frankly. I mean, when I was a younger man, yeah, but we're talking some serious hard work in the hot, and it's hot, and yeah, wow, okay, well, geez, and dangerous. I'm a little surprised. Okay, let me talk to Lynn. Lynn, we're talking about labor laws and kids. Now, you say there's a lot of kids running around selling stuff and all of that. Are there any labor laws in Vietnam that govern how old a child's supposed to be before they can work?
Actually, I think in Vietnam we don't have any labor laws for any children because in Vietnam there are many poor family, and only thing they have to do is run outside and take something to sell and earn some money to and spend some money to give their family to live day by day. It's some rights, yes, because and no law about this. The government have no laws, but in some store, in some luxury store, in yes, maybe for the rich man, we don't allow the children to sell stuff in there. Yes.
Okay. In retail stores.
Yes, retail store, but in luxury, it's been for rich people. Maybe it's some the hotel or yes, maybe like something like that.
Okay. All right. Be careful, Lynn. Children, of course, is already plural, so you don't really say children unless you're using a possessive, like children's needs. But okay, there are no laws for children. No
yes,
S.
children.
Right. Okay, but you don't see them working, driving a bulldozer or operating a crane or working in retail. Right. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I know what you mean. I'm a little surprised with the construction thing, but okay. I know what you mean. I don't ever see children doing that. Lynn, in Vietnam, are there child models, child movie stars, child TV stars?
Yes.
You have that? Okay.
Child movie star. Yes, it's a small one, not popular in Vietnam, because they yes, we have someone they grow up in the TV shows like The Voice in Vietnam. You know, they have a talent and they make money from that. Yes.
Okay. Do they often end up in Vietnam? Do they often end up having messed up lives? Because I'll tell you, the American, it's like a curse. The American child movie stars all end up being drug addicts or worse, or I don't know, getting caught stealing or whatever. So many of them have troubled lives.
Trouble life, yes. Someone, I think sometimes it happened with some children. They famous, they really famous, and they say they get some trouble from the scandal. Yes, and from that they really, I think it's affect to the mental of their children. Yes, because they're really small.
Mental or emotional?
Yeah, emotional. Yes, emotional.
Right. Okay. They are really young, and they, you can say, Lynn, they get into trouble.
Get into trouble. Yes.
Yeah, we use expression in English. Yeah, they get into trouble, and my goodness. Yeah, it happens a lot. All those American movie star kids, they all end up tragically. It seems like
Yes.
all of them. I don't know. Um,
Yes.
I don't know what it is. Uh, right now in the Philippines, I'm so annoyed by this. There's there's a kid, maybe she's, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7. I don't know her name because I boycott the show. I don't ever watch it. I find it disturbing. There's this little kid, I don't know, 5, 6, 7. She's really, really fat, really overweight kid. And she's got her own show and she makes mistakes and she's just a kid and they find this so amusing. I find it very disturbing. I really feel like she's being, exploited, actually. Yeah, I find it it really bothers me. And this kid has no talent whatsoever. And everybody just laughs at her and
What?
I don't get it.
Really? Yes.
Yeah, really. It freaks me out. I don't understand it.
And
Really.
and she don't have any talent, and she's just
No, she's not.
overweight fat.
She tries to dance and it looks like a little fat kid dancing. She tries to sing and it sounds like
Oh, yes.
can't hit the high note.
Yes, that's make me remember. That's one man in Vietnam. They don't have any talent. They sing a song on YouTube and they sing really, really, really terrible. But yes, but I don't know what happened with him. But they got an interview from the studio, and then he just make fun for the people.
Mhm.
Yes, and he got into he get into showbiz. I don't know what happened with
I don't get it.
yes.
Sometimes I don't understand these. I don't understand this. Whatever famous children, and I don't get it. Heidi, how about in Japan? You have child actors there,
Yes, yes, there are many child actors.
really?
Mhm.
Okay. Did they end up with such whacked out lives like the American child actors? I mean, I'm
Many,
curious if it's just Americans or everywhere.
many cases they work until about 10 years old. Then after that, they returned. They returned to the school.
Okay.
I've never
All right.
seen such kind of young people. Then suddenly they appear when they are 15 years old. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Interesting.
Next time by their will. Maybe while they are a very young kid, parent wanted to hear them work.
Yeah. Okay. Now, do you feel? All right. In America, they all end up like getting into trouble, like Lindsay Lohan and what's the Home Alone kid? What's his name? Matthew McConaughey or McCullough? Yeah, I think he got into some trouble as well.
Yeah.
They all end up getting into trouble.
Hmm. He got married when he was 18 years old, a very, very young age.
Really?
Yes. And
Oh, I did not know that.
divorced. Get
And divorced. Okay. I had no idea. Okay. Interesting.
Their parents separated because he earned too much money.
Oh my gosh. Oh, crazy. Okay. All right. We're getting down to the last few minutes. Heidi, how do you feel about children in the workplace? What is, for you, what is your opinion? What is right? What is wrong? What is fair? What is unfair?
In Japan, we don't have such problem. I've never seen some child labors, but many countries have child labors. It's not good. Particularly, I heard in India, they are working on the carpet factory. Even though their hands are very small, they grab the scissors, very big scissors, and cut. Sometimes they cut off their fingers.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
The
All right.
government should stop them.
All right. What do you think is fair? a fair age for a young person to start full-time work? You said it's 15, just like the
Yeah,
United States.
15, I think so. 15
Yeah.
years old.
Okay.
Mhm.
I started work when I was 15, full-time. Didn't really hurt me. I thought it was a very good thing. I actually expanded my worldview and my education. It did not hamper it. In some countries, you know, China, Korea, some countries they're so focused on the children's education that they completely
Mhm.
they just think it's crazy to have a child work at all,
Mhm.
which I find very strange. I think
But
especially
some poor countries, there are many children. They are very poor, so they need to sell their children to the factory or someplace.
yeah,
Mhm.
which is
5 years or 6 years old.
obviously bad. It seems like to me it seems like there should be a compromise.
Mhm.
I disagree. I disagree with what you're saying, children cutting off their fingers with scissors, but I also disagree with the Chinese model where they think they would never let their child work until they've graduated university. I disagree with that. I don't think that's you end up with a lot of spoiled, rotten brats. Frankly, I think somewhere something in the middle. That's my opinion. Julio, what is your opinion about children and working?
I believe that when you're a kid, when you are growing up, it is important to be educated. So that's the most important
Hmm.
task that we as adults have to focus on kids, get them to be educated. And part of this education must be to get them involved in what's going on in the real world, which is having a job. And but this should be something that we as a society or through the education system we have to mentor, and this would have to have only the purpose of getting them to be trained on what is to be actually working and getting experience and trying to see what money is and how money functions and how everything you do has the can be paid in money, and then you start thinking about money in a completely different way. But this has to be an educated process. You cannot get kids to work because they have to work because they are poor and they're hungry and they are forced by their parents. Because then they're not, even though they are learning, but they are being also they are becoming now slaves of their whole financial system. So in
Hmm.
order to break that chain, we have to make sure that they are educated, they have experience, how they know how the work and the money works and the system works, and then get them ready to become full professionals when they finish their university. So
Yeah,
yes, I believe they have to work, but that's something that has to be mentored and with the only purpose of being educated in that field.
you bring up an interesting point. You imply that the child labor sometimes conditions the person who grows to an adult, to be conditioned for basically being treated like a slave, acting like a slave, and continuing that chain of being exploited even as an adult. Am I reading your point correctly?
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely, and they are learning how to be slaves since they are very little.
Yeah. Which is not really what you want to be teaching. Okay, let me ask Lynn. What is your opinion about children in the workplace? What is your overall opinion, Lynn? When is it appropriate? When is it inappropriate?
You mean in the workplace? Uh,
Jeff, your opinion of this whole topic we've been talking about. Is it okay? Is it ever okay? Is it okay
uh,
sometimes?
yes. In my opinion, I think we should have a policy for the children don't have enough money to earn money to live day by day. Yes, we should have a policy for their children to make them to go to school to improve their competencies to learn a new job or to get high education. Uh, Yes, yes,
Okay.
because we have a high education, we can make something new, maybe to the affect to them to interact with the other people, maybe in the foreign countries, because we are a developing countries now, and we need to make sure the bright future for Vietnam. Yes.
Okay. Okay, you could use the phrase achieve a higher level of education, maybe.
Yes, higher level education.
Level.
Thank you.
Sure. We sometimes talk about education, categorize it, levels, using the word levels of education. Yeah, and the children are our future. People. Okay, as I guess Michael Jackson and some others once said. Okay, children are our future. All right. Yes, it is quite obvious that children are present. I like that, Julio, actually. Maybe a better way to look at it. It is quite obvious that when we talk about this, that we're talking about cycles, sometimes often bad cycles that continue when we're not careful about how we deal with children in the workplace as opposed to education. But anyway, great stuff today, guys. I really enjoyed the discussion. Thank you very much. However, my time is up. I'll see you guys again soon, I hope, here on Verbling.